game 2 of my recap Sligo 2025, and this time I'm playing Adhvik Kumar, and we are facing the London system here. And normally the expected move here is d5 with London players, but I like to create early tension and play c5 here just to see what a London player would normally do. And a taking here isn't ideal, because if they play d takes and bishop takes and say knight c3 or knight b to d2, white can walk into this problem here with queen b6, where the f2 and b2 pawns are in trouble. But anyway, white plays c3. So I developed my queenside knight here with knight c6, and white pushes e3. And normally in this position, I've quite often faced a3, where white is trying to dislodge the c5 pawn with their queenside pawns. So bishop e7 was played, and knight b to d2 was played here. And I have always been attracted by knight h5 just to take out that bishop, but it seems like most London players are always happy to lose that bishop. And here I was kind of more concerned with grabbing or consolidating the center here, and I pushed d5, and white pushed b3 here, which kind of surprised me a little bit, because it seemed like they were planning c4, which felt like a wasted move, because they've previously played c3 here. So at this point, I just played c takes, and white plays e takes. Backtracking here to the knight h5 move I mentioned earlier on, and what normally happens here is white will play bishop g3, and if you take, they take with the h2 pawn, and you're presented with this problem where you have an open edge file that white can utilize, and then you have this h7 c2 diagonal as well, which can become a problem if white still has their queen and nice squared bishop. And so after castling here, white plays bishop d3, and I did eventually play knight h5 here, but I wasn't keen on just taking that dark squared bishop. So when they backtracked to g3, I challenged that bishop here with bishop d6 to see if they're going to take my bishop, and which they did. So I take back with the queen, and here now white plays queen e2, which was kind of a weird move. I was expecting them to castle, and they kind of invite this move here where they have the queen and bishop on attack, and as well the g2 pawn. So they backtrack to queen f2 to protect that pawn. And at this point here, I kind of played a hasty move here, which was queen a3. And at the time I figured, well, white can't castle kingside, so let me be a nuisance and place my queen here on the a3 square so they can't castle kingside, just to try and keep their king in the center for a little while longer. There is definitely great value in keeping things simple here, and at the time there's two moves. There was queen a3 and another move I was thinking of making, but I kind of made the queen move because it looked flashy at the time, and this move was e5. Now, as you can see, there's the looming threat of the fork there on e4, and can white afford to take that pawn? Let's see what happens. If they play d takes, you play knight takes, and now that bishop is in trouble. Let's say they backtrack with the bishop, say to bishop c2. There's a move like knight f3 check, And if you take back with the knight, now the rook comes into play. King d2 the king is still stuck in the center, and there's a lot of options here that start opening up for black in this position. You take the g2 pawn, queen takes g2, queen f4, king d1, and you put more pressure here with bishop g4, and it's looking very dicey for white. And let's say, for example, after e5, there's other options, like say bishop c2 to run away from the fork. Simply play e takes, c takes, the rook comes into play again, king d1, bishop g4, and there's lots of problems in the center there for white. That was the move to make, e4 instead of queen a3. So white then threatens my knight here with a g3, and I was more than happy then to take out white's last remaining bishop here with knight takes d3, and they play queen takes. And I'm thinking to myself here, okay, white is probably going to castle kingside, so I'm eyeing that a6 square with my bishop, so I played b6 to open that diagonal up. White castles as expected, and I play bishop a6, but then they block here with c4, and I played knight b4 to attack the queen again here, and they played queen c3. So I took here with d takes c4, they played knight takes c4, attacking my queen, and my queen is kind of in a trap position, so I had to take that knight on c4, so I played bishop takes c4, queen c4, and now I was looking at which rook to move, either the f rook or the a rook, and I just played rook to a, rook on a moves to c8 here. White played queen b5, and I figured here that they're probably looking for a queen exchange. So after rook c2, queen a4, I had no choice but to exchange the queens here. Then b takes, and I doubled up on the c file here. White then threatens my knight here with a3, and at this point I kind of made a move I really don't like having played, with knight d3, and as you can see here, this leaves no retreat squares for my knight, whereas knight d5, the preferred move in this case, is kind of in a more powerful, influential position in the center. But anyway, after knight d3, white plays knight e1, and it's I'm kind of forced to then exchange the knights in this case. So I play knight takes, he plays rook f takes on e1, and I played rook d2 to try and trouble that d4 pawn. They played rook e4, and I then double up here on white's second rank, and I played rook f4 to protect that f2 pawn. But I attack there then with g5, which means then I'm winning that d5, or that d4 pawn. So I play rook takes d4, they play h4, and at this point here I played rook takes a4. But let's backtrack here for a second, and I'm looking at this position, and I kind of feel like a g4 or g takes h4 was kind of the better move, because say I play g4 in this case, this rook has to move. Why does it move? The good square here is e3. Then I can take on rook takes a4 without having lost that g4 pawn, and I'm 2 pawns up instead of 1 pawn up. So after the initial rook takes a4, white plays h takes g, and I retaliate here with rook g4. White plays rook d1 to take the open file. I play rook c7 to kind of stop any 7th rank incursions from white, and they play rook on f moves to d3. I take on g5 here. They play check. I move my king, and they get their king active as well. Then I move through rook a5, and at this point white plays rook a8, and they're probably planning rook d8. I should have seen that from a mile away, but I take on a3, and they play rook on d moves to d8, and I play rook b7 to try and then get behind the b6 pawn for promotion here. So at this point, then white plays g4, and I play b5, moving my pawn onwards to the b1 square, and I play g5 again. And for some reason, these two pawn moves did not register in my head, and I'm only thinking of promotion at this point, and disaster strikes, and I play b4. And you already see what happens here. White plays rook g8, checkmate. So I went on from a clearly winning position here to blundering a mate in one, and I was beside myself here. I was frustrated with how I didn't concentrate till the very end, throwing away a winning game. But anyways, props to my opponent here, Adhvik Kumar, who played till the very end and won a game here that we're completely losing.